What's up, Renegade Nation? Before we begin the video, I want to give a shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Connor Stearman, The Wizard of Oof, Josh Combs, Railfan Noel, Revenant Gaming, Grand Admiral Yamato, TAG Pika, Charday Rider, Damn Is It, Derek Kincaid, Tech Snow, Graffiti Turtle, Dylan Prosper, Latanya Young, Chris O, Tim Dorst, Gino, Fithelo, Fireboy9191, Kevin, by the way, I'm a girl, Noah Simsar, Acoleyte, Ted, Brody Scott, Dark Buddha, Ali Mocha, Matt McMillan, Alan Barty, Scott Winfrey, Michael Abeta, Anene, Alex Estrada, Eric Aldama, Lucky, and Caleb Harrington. And I would also like to give a big shout out to our executive producers, Joshua Fix, The Gimpster 101, and Bevan Brummett. Thank you all very much for your support. And if you wish to become a YouTube member, click the join button, which is right down by the subscribe button. And if you want to join us on Patreon, feel free to click the link down below to find out more. We'll see you there.
Hey guys, guess who the imposter?
Wait, what? Really?
Wait, I don't like pasta.
Got him!
God, son of a...
Hell yeah, bro. We on this.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And now we're gonna watch some internet historian. Sorry, I had to... It's been a while since we've seen some, like, main channel internet historian. The last thing we watched was The Varus Strikes Buck. And by the way, if you think I said that incorrectly, that's actually what it said. Me and Chad both had the same realization. We were both thinking, oh, The Virus Strikes Back. And it's like, no, The Varus Strikes Buck. I wonder how often he does that in his videos just to throw people off, because, you know, the confirmation bias in our minds automatically, like tells us that's what this word says, because we're reading it out like it's a complete sentence, but in truth, there's some hidden stuff in there. It's just
My
like...
weird brain talks to itself like that all the time, so it just doesn't register as anything different from what it actually is to me. The Virus Strikes Buck.
The Varus Strikes Buck. So, the whole thing with internet historians...
My brain is like, I would like a glass of tea.
Yes. Tea.
A glass of tea.
So, last time the Internet Historian released a video this gargantuan was the Engoodening of No Man's Sky, which, gotta be honest, that's one of my favorite videos of his. The ones where he talks about video games I really find engaging because, you know, the Fallout 76 one was just cathartic as shit because we got so much crap for, you know, being critical of Fallout 76 in the beginning, and then for it to be confirmed pretty much by everyone that it was going to be a dumpster fire. And then and I've gone back to that live stream multiple times and I've seen just how many people have just been like, wow, you guys called it. And I'm just like, yeah, what can I say? And then the Engoodening of No Man's Sky, you know, that's another one that's just tremendously, like, well done. And quality is something I can always expect from Internet Historian, especially when it comes to the ones on his main channel. Which, if you all haven't subbed to Internet Historian, what are you doing with your life? Click his name in the title of the video right now, go to his channel, subscribe, then come back here. Or if you want to go there, watch all of his videos, and then come back and watch us react to this video, that'd be even better, because the dude deserves all the views, all the love, all the support. So, I'm not even gonna watch the video to give it a like. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it a compliment, just a like right off the bat. Boom, there you go.
I do that a lot with videos I know I'm gonna like.
Yeah, well, anytime
if for some reason I happen to not like it, I'll just go back and change it.
Yeah, which that's never been the case with me with Internet Historian. Every single one of his videos I've watched, I have enjoyed so damn much. And not only that, but where this is a long Internet Historian video, we may have to take a short break, but it'll be you won't notice it because post-production, yay. But for for multiple reasons, because of how long this episode is and because of certain distress that may strike one of us if it does come to pass. But, yeah. The cost of Concordia, I don't know what the hell this is. I really have no idea. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
usually with most of his titles, you can kind of figure out where he's going with it. But with this one, I don't know. So, I guess might as well.
I'm just curious as to what comes up if I go
Concordia? Concordia. I see something. I don't know. Nick is currently Googling. Anything? Anything
There's
concrete?
a college that shut down.
Huh.
With the name of Concordia.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, given how many public universities are losing funding because no students are actually wanting to go there.
Apparently, it was a top-ranked university in North America, but it shut down.
Damn.
So maybe that's what he's talking about.
Maybe. I guess we'll have to see. But, anyway, the cost of Concordia. Let's, we already got it up on screen.
It's weird that it's a top-ranked university. I've never heard of it.
Maybe
So
this
I
is
hear
why we
about
haven't heard of it.
The other ones, like, what's the fucking place in Boston?
Harvard?
Harvard, yeah.
Well, Harvard has, well,
It's
so
like,
Massachusetts.
I mix it up with Yale, and
Well-
I know what Yale's not in. Yale's in the UK, right?
No, Yale's in the U.S.
Is it?
Cambridge and Oxford are in the UK.
Oh, yeah, Cambridge and Oxford. Those are the ones I mix up.
Yeah.
'Cause Oxford should be more, like, my brain shouldn't do that, because Oxford English Dictionary,
Yes.
you know, but
And then-
I don't know.
Cambridge, same deal. For me, Ivy League schools, you know, like the upper crust of like the top level schools. I mean, hell, Massachusetts has both the best law school and the best like tech school in the world. I mean, they have MIT and they have Harvard. So there you go. I just go to Massachusetts. Yeah. Stake your claim in Nantucket and have a ball. Anyway, we got the cost of Concordia. Let's have a watch and see what happens. Here we go.
The Costa Concordia, ship of dreams. It's been 8 years. I can still smell the buffets from
is
the
it a ship?
5 restaurants.
Apparently.
The casino and 3-story theater had hardly been used. The gym, the day spa, the sheets in 1,500 luxurious cabins hadn't even been slept in. Costa Concordia cost $570 million to build. And you could tell. You could really tell.
Damn. That's a big ship. The Costa Concordia. Okay.
It sounded like a parody of the Titanic music
Ah,
that was
remember-
playing.
It was.
Did
I was-
this motherfucker sink?
I was about to sing, "You're here. There's nothing I feel." Sorry.
It was just a few years ago. We had left Civitavecchia, a port in Rome, and we were making our way to Savona. It was day 2 of our 7-day journey. But that ship, she was cursed. When she premiered,
It's not the
a traditional
cost
bottle
of
of champagne
Concordia,
bounced
it's
right
the
off
cost
the
of
side
Concordia.
instead of smashing.
All
A
right.
bad omen, but I'm
See
not the
that.
superstitious type. Nothing could go wrong on Friday the 13th of January, 2012, on the 100th year anniversary of the Titanic.
Oh my God!
That's also only safety rated for 2-compartment flooding, especially not when you have a 5-star max level captain like Francisco Spatino, a man who mysteriously rose from head of security to the position of captain within just a couple of years. He knows exactly what to do in case of an emergency. For example, when he caused this emergency in 2008, when he crashed into a port in Sicily. And in 2010, in Vanneman, Germany, when he was steering a different ship and came into port too fast and caused another collision.
That's from Cruise Control. I
No
remember
good
that.
feeling about this.
Okay, that was weird. I don't like that. No, I don't like that.
I like that.
The meme actually spoke. I don't like that. I'm joking, by the way. I don't really care.
I like it.
Jesus.
So let's set the scene. It's a beautiful evening.
I know that theme.
People are having fun on the slides, drinks at the bar. Antonio Magnotta is playing piano at the restaurant. Martin the Magician is setting up for his show. And the ship is setting up for a little detour. It's called a sail-by salute. Basically, you get real close to the shore and honk the horn. The locals hate it, but the customers love it, and it's a tradition. Scatino, the captain, comes into the dining hall with a lady, Dominica Samorton. Remember this face, because you'll be seeing a lot of it later. Scatino eats his dinner with her and socializes for a little while. Then he, Dominica, and the maitre d' finish up and excuse themselves. They're heading to the bridge. It's time for that sail-by salute. This time, they're going to get closer than ever. Just 1,500 feet from the island
Oh,
of Chile.
no!
And how
I know
are
it's
they
going to
determine
happen.
this distance? Well, of course, the captain is going to eyeball it. Apparently, it's not an uncommon thing to do.
Damn it.
Scatino turns to the fella steering, his helmsman, Jacob Rusley. First interesting tidbit. Costa Crociere has hired Jacob from Indonesia at a rock-bottom price, and he's a bit of a newbie to the job. In fact, his profession hitherto, a painter and a cleaner. It's his first time steering a massive ship, and he's very excited. And he's...
You'd think if they spent $570 million on a luxury cruise line ship, you would at least hire people who knew what the fuck they were doing. If I had a ship that I commissioned for $570 million and I put someone in charge who was a former head of security and was, like to play slalom with the icebergs, and who hired a helmsman whose only job previously was a painter and a cleaner and had never driven a ship before, and you wanted to do a drive-by honking, what are you going to do? Honk the horn with your dick? Who are you, Tommy Lee on a yacht? Fucking Pamela Anderson? You fucking dumb shit? God!
There's a recipe in the back of my recipe book that I never use because it makes exactly 1 metric ton of disaster. And they've quadrupled the recipe.
This can only go bad. This can only go great. I'm excited.
Absolutely nothing interesting is going to happen in this video. The ship's going to sail by and honk the horn on an island. He's going to be like that. He's going to talk about that for 45 minutes. That's how this is going to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly, that's how this is going to go.
It's hard to tell because he doesn't speak English or Italian very well at all. Off to a good start. The second in command orders the helmsman to 290. Now, don't be confused by these numbers. They're just the degrees on a compass.
Yeah,
at the same time,
that's
the
bearing.
captain whips out his cell phone and calls former captain Mario Palomo, who lives on the island. They chat about the safe distance to Giglio's shores. It's all very casual. Anyway, Mario says that the safe distance is between 0.3 and 0.4 miles from shore. The captain is going all in. This is not his first sail-by salute, so he's confident in what he's doing. We're going closer than we've ever been before. The captain's eyeballing it again.
That is
Heading
not how
is
that
300,
works.
he tells the helmsman. Downstairs, Martin is about to cut his assistant in half. And of course, that means that there's already a lady inside this box. She's waiting for the cue, and then she'll poke her legs out. The captain is giving more orders. Pulling gently to 310. Increase speed to 16 knots. Going this fast is going to be a fatal error. But before we talk about that, let's talk about another big problem. Language barrier. Because at this point, the captain says 325, but the helmsman relays 315. So the first officer intervenes, and he goes, no, 335, which is also wrong. And then the captain clarifies, no, 325. The helmsman confirms 325. Their poor communication has them moving at a much wider angle than they think they are. However, the captain should and would know this, except for the next problem, complacency about procedure. The standard procedure of a ship this large is for the third officer to give exact positional coordinates every time the captain gives a new directional order. But they're not doing that. 330, he says. The helmsman relays 330. The ship reaches 16 knots. The captain then turns to the second officer and instructs him to go to the left wing. That's these things here, and they basically exist so you can get a better view over the whole vessel. A few seconds pass, and then the moon starts to turn. Scatino notices white foam of waves breaking against the rocks directly in front of him in the distance. The Costa Concordia, right now, is almost 700 meters closer to the rocks than it should be. Without deviation, there is going to be a direct collision.
Oh, shit!
Scatino immediately commands the ship to start turning away. 335. Not enough. The captain shouts, 340. The captain yells, 350. Now, remember how I said that accelerating to 16 knots was a fatal error?
Because everything shifts when you turn too fast. If you ever been in a car and gone around a curve too fast, you'd know, whoa!
Oh, fuck!
Yeah.
I just realized what's about to happen.
Yes!
Oh, no!
This is gonna be bad.
Oh, that poor girl in the box.
I know!
Oh, God.
Dang
Such a
it.
drastic turn. What they've got is understeer. Here's an example.
The front end is not working. You're turning, and you're just going straight. You want to go over here, but you're going to end up over here.
So despite the order of 350, right now the bow is still only pointing at 327. Not nearly enough to miss the rock. And oh no, it's about to get worse.
Okay, I thought the inertia from the turn was going to, like, throw everybody across the ship.
Every second counts. The helmsman wrongly relays 340. The captain snaps back, 350 starboard, or we end up on the rocks. The third officer goes to assist the helmsman. Now, don't get confused by the orders from here. We're
Basically drifting in a giant fucking ship.
The captain yells,
Deja vu!
starboard 10,
Yeah.
starboard 20, and still it's not enough. Hard to starboard. That means as hard as it'll go. But at this point, even if they clear these rocks, they need to get the rest of the ship to swing around them. So the captain yells, midship, which centers the rudder. The bow is now less than 150 meters from Skull Rock. Port 10. But the helmsman only gets to port 5 before another order is given 2 seconds later. Port 20. They might just avoid disaster here, maybe. But then, oh no. One more time, the helmsman cocks up at the worst possible moment. The helmsman goes to starboard instead of port, undoing the swing. 8 seconds later, he realizes the error and corrects, but it's too late. He has just turned a probable near-miss into a sure hit. All they can do now is hold on as the bow of the ship narrowly passes by the rocks. Hard to port! The second officer yells, "We're gonna hit!" Collision.
Ooh.
Boom, baby. Oh.
I can't believe I never heard about this. It's fucking insane.
Everything is so stereotypically Italian. The pasta... The coffee...
Bad time.
Oh, really?
Downtown, Nord
The
Town.
cliffhanger is like that.
It's
Yeah,
day 56,
I guess.
playing Russian roulette. Seems I never win.
Gonna drink all by yourself?
Somebody has to.
I hear you're a man who's good at finding folks.
I'm many things.
I'm looking for this fella. I gots to find him. It's breaking my little heart.
I'll see what I can do. I have contacts in thousands of servers in dozens of countries across the globe. And just like that, she was gone. The only thing she left was a calling card. Sometimes when you follow a case, it follows you back. NordVPN can protect my online data. And who can protect me? From myself. And when they said this job gets easier, it was just another lie. Forensics found his password spread all the way down the block. In a perfect world, we'd all use NordVPN. But I guess this isn't that kind of story. I took the brakes off my car. Man like me never really learned how to stop.
Shut the fuck up.
I took the steering wheel out too. I let the road take me where I'm supposed to be. That's right, Toots. Your husband's dead.
I can only imagine, like someone reading off an inner monologue as they're driving down the road. It's like, I contemplated my decisions. I realized what I have to do. And then all of a sudden you hear, like, in the passenger seat, dude, shut the fuck up. And he's like, I thought I should stop. Then I realized, no. That would be what they're expecting.
Merry Christmas.
Rosebud.
Go to nordvpn.com/internet story for a huge discount on the 2-year plan.
Add over.
Add over. The ship hits rocks on the port side. A 53-meter gash opens up in the hull, and thousands of tons of water begin pouring in. A loud scraping and bang is heard by all passengers. At the helm is panic. Rumblings in the dining room.
I mean, at least they're close to land in this case, rather than in the middle of the fucking ocean like with the Titanic.
Is trapped, terrified. There's confusion across the ship.
Let me add.
All of the crew off shift come back on duty. All officers run to the bridge. Technical crews run down to the lower decks to assess damage. On connection with the rocks, they lose propulsion and slow to 8.3 knots. And they are now adrift. Close the watertight doors at stern. Enormous volumes of water are pouring in. So much so that within 29 seconds of collision, all 6 engines stop working through flooding. 22 seconds later, a blackout happens. Lights, electrics, the water pumps too, everything. The captain orders the helmsman hard starboard. This is the final position of the rudder before power to that too is lost. The Costa Concordia, now without power, is drifting starboard, plunged into absolute darkness. A quick breakdown of the flooding. When the Concordia struck land, it tore open 3 watertight compartments. At first, compartment 5, which filled very rapidly. Then 6 more slowly, 4 shortly after. Then 7, 8, and 3. Modern ships are built to withstand 2 compartment breaches. These compartments especially, though, are a problem, because they contain the engines and the electrics. These main generators give power to the whole ship. From propulsion motors to rudder to hotel functions, pretty much everything. When they went out, the ship was a functionless, sinking cage. A few seconds later, the emergency batteries for internal lighting and communications kick on. When the lights come back on, Martin has vanished. He's ditched the stage, and it caused a huge panic in the theatre, as passengers are trying to flee to their cabins and to muster stations. People already in their cabins come out and start putting on life vests. Staff rally and try to calm everyone down. Everything is fine. There's no need for this. Please return to your cabins. The emergency generator starts.
Everything was fine.
All of the watertight doors close except for door 12, which is jammed. The captain calls Pilon, the chief engineer, as the ship begins to list on the port side. There's water coming in? Yes, there's water. But where? The engine room. But a lot of water? Yes! There's water, you can't go down. Let's go down the other side. In a moment we'll start the pumps, I'll let you know. In the theatre, the whole magic box apparatus slides right off the stage and falls into the crowd, further increasing panic. On the bridge, an announcement is being prepared. They are going to lie to prevent a panic. Let's just say we have a blackout. The deputy chief engineer enters the engine control room. He confirms to the bridge that at least compartments 5, 6, and 7 are flooded. Announcements are made.
The captain to inform you that due to an electrical fault, which is currently under control, we're currently in a blackout. Our technicians are working to resolve the situation and inform you of developments as they occur. Thank you for your attention.
Coincidentally, at the same time in the restaurant, they're playing My Heart Will Go On, and it's very much not helping the situation. The captain calls the Costa Crisis Unit. Roberto Ferrari. He tells the crisis unit that they've hit a rock, that they're assessing damages, and that they are also in a blackout. The crisis office says to reverse the ship up onto shore. Well, how are you going to do that? You don't have power to the rudder, let alone the engine. You know, hoist the sails? Anyway, around this time, the wind direction creates a starboard lift, and the ship begins to turn anyway, drifting right back towards the shore, which is a very good thing because you want the ship to end up as close to shore as possible.
Yep.
A panicked passenger senses that something is off. This isn't like any electrical problem that she's ever seen. Plus, there was a massive crashing noise, and now the ship is tilting. So, she contacts her daughter in Italy. The daughter then calls the police, and the police call the harbour master. While that goes on, a conversation between Pilon and Ambrosio. The diesel is not starting. The captain asks the engine room, but where have we made contact? Thinking that the incoming water can be reduced. Captain, here everything is lost. The electrical panel, everything.
Solid music.
They're saying at this point that the ship is going down. The captain calls Roberto Ferrarini again.
Fucked.
Actually, 2 compartments have been flooded, but don't worry, the ship's stability isn't in danger. Wrong. Passengers begin going to muster stations on their own initiative. The cruise director says, "We have a lot of people at muster stations that I do not want to fall overboard. Do we make an announcement to tell them to go to the lounges?" Bozio says, "I think that's best." The harbour master from Livorno calls the ship. The captain tells them that we just have a blackout. How long has this blackout been going on? About 20 minutes. Have you asked passengers to put on life vests? It's just a blackout. I gotta go.
Why are you lying to the harbour master?
Is suspicious. He says to his superiors that he thinks something more is going on. He calls a patrol boat to the area and asks them to look at the ship.
Patrol boat, literal boat.
The family emergency diesel generator isn't working properly. Pilon manually has to turn the thing on and off with a screwdriver so that it doesn't overheat and cause a fire. The captain is on the phone to the lower decks, asking pointless questions, like, is it still flooded? Yes it is. The captain is essentially in denial of the situation. The harbour master calls again. Finally, he says, the ship is taking on water through an opening on the left side and the ship is listing. He qualifies with, no one dead or injured. The harbour master asks if he needs help. Just a tugboat? When in reality, they need a full rescue. With 3 compartments flooded, the captain finally realizes that things are really bad and they are not going to improve. The Coast Guard orders every available ship to the sea. Meanwhile, up with the passengers, the cruise director's assistant says, everything's under control. Please return to your cabins or hang about in the lounges, no problem.
Oh my god.
She said this despite knowing it was wrong, and that it further endangered
Did they get a bunch of people
Most
killed?
passengers at this point, though, aren't listening to this nonsense, and they're busy figuring out how to abandon ship. Bang, 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 bang. Local television has already picked up the story, and they begin broadcasting live radio feed from the bridge. Captain,
He's like,
the
yeah,
passengers
hey,
are
this
going on board
ship
the
out here
boats.
looks pretty fucked.
Okay, let them go to shore. So then general emergency? Wait, let me talk to Ferrarini. We risk the emergency generators that do not have cooling. It has cooling problems, 100 degrees. The cooling fan has stopped. Pilon calls the bridge and tells the safety officer they need to evacuate. The safety officer relays this to the captain, but after no response, he orders the engine room to evacuate on his own. The captain says, no, stay. We're leaving. So
Yeah,
what do we
dude.
do? General emergency?
Yeah.
The captain tells Ferrarini that he's abandoning ship. Abandoned ship. Another announcement is made.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The situation is under control. If you remain calm, but at this time proceed to your muster station. They're located outside on deck 4.
The Livorno Coast Guard calls again. The captain declares distress. The Coast Guard officially calls for rescue operations. They contact Pietro Millet, the helicopter base commander, who then calls in every available pilot. As he rushes down to the helicopter base, Pilon shuts down the emergency generator for a final time. The first rescue vessel arrives. By this point, the lifeboats are already going. Luckily, the ship is very close to shore. Oh, perhaps too close to shore. The ship forcefully runs aground, creating an uneven center of gravity, and it begins heavily listing starboard. The captain issues a general emergency on board. The announcement to abandon ship is finally called and alarms ring out, and with that comes panic. And now that they're listing, with many of the lifeboats too awkwardly positioned to enter the water, there aren't enough readily available, and they have to start
this is
going
giving
back
me
and
hella
forth to shore,
anxiety.
picking people up and dropping them off.
I would be so
The
scared
control
if I
boats
was on
report
that
to
ship,
Livorno
dude.
Harbour Master that
They'd be
the
like,
ship
dude,
has run
they-
aground and is
we're gonna
listing
die.
heavily. So the
I
harbour
know the
master
shore's
asks
right there,
the
but
captain
fuck,
about,
man,
and the
that's a long
captain
drop.
says,
That is a long ass drop. Jesus Christ. This captain...
This captain's an asshole.
He is an idiot.
An idiot
of the
asshole.
highest order. God. Okay, if this man is not in jail right now, I don't know what else to say. I really don't.
He needs to be in jail for, like, gross negligence.
Extreme gross negligence, dude. This is insane.
You know, where the ship is still floating. In fact, we're trying to maneuver it onto the shore. They know he's lying. Hold on, I'm reversing it. Beep, 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 beep. The captain there says to bottom out the starboard anchor. So they drop out the anchors, but let out too much chain, effectively rendering them useless. The deputy mayor of Giglio, Mario Pellegrini, and tobacco shop owner Giovanni Rossi arrive at the harbour. They watch the scene unfold. As the first of the lifeboats arrive on shore, the deputy mayor takes the initiative and races to board one of the lifeboats, returning to the ship, and starts trying to find someone in charge. He gives up and starts helping passengers. Scatino tells everyone to leave and take radios, but not before changing out of his uniform and into a nice suit. Priorities.
What a piece of
Dimitri
shit.
Christidis and Silvia Coronica leave with him. The maitre d' and some more can both get out of there. By this point, approximately 300 people are still on the ship. Millet reaches the helicopter base. The first helicopter, a slow-moving Augusta Bell, was already rising from the tarmac for the hour-long flight south. Bozio is the last crew member left on the bridge, coordinating evacuation.
Oh yeah, hey, what's about that with a captain going down with a ship? It's like,
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking this whole time.
It's like, I'm not the captain. I'm just a regular
Yeah, he
standard
changed
passenger.
into a suit so he could get away with, like, not being recognized as the captain.
Yeah.
And he was, like, fucking leaving
Avoiding
a bunch of people.
responsibility to the... I hope this guy gets burned for the shit that he's done.
I don't agree with going down with the ship, but you should be the last fucking one.
Exactly.
Off the ship in an emergency. Like, you've taken on the responsibility for everyone who's on your vessel.
Oh, and not only that,
and
it's
you need
his
to make sure
fault.
that they all get out before you get out yourself.
It's his fault. This whole situation is his fault.
Yeah,
He called the
absolutely.
previous captain of the ship. It's like, oh, what's the safe distance? Oh, this is the safe distance. Oh, we're going to
Fuck
completely
that.
fuck that all up. We're going to go in, we're going to hit a rock, we're going to capsize sideways. Oh, and guess what? I'm going to completely avoid all fucking, like, point of taking any responsibility for this because, you know what? I'm a bitch.
The bridge is now abandoned. And then, the ship's black box stops working. Apparently there were technical problems with it. That means, from here, things are going to get a little foggy in detail. A while later, rescue helicopters arrive, but they're struggling to find the ship because they're expecting it to still be well above water. Passengers are scaling down the port side by ladder as lifeboats return to pick them up.
Damn.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness. No joking.
Oh.
He's not allowed to make a film movie.
I'm allowed.
Who say you?
A second helicopter...
Who said you aren't allowed? Bitch! Bitch! You don't tell me what to do!
Well, it's not America, so...
Well, it's not America. Oh, I'm sorry. So does that mean, not observe and report what the fuck is going on?
A lot of other places in the world, absolutely. Yeah, it does.
But this woman here, I guarantee you, she's liable for something because he said to pay attention to her, remember her for later. Because I guarantee you, she has something to do with this.
I'm pretty sure the whole thing is just to point out, like, she was with the captain. So clearly the captain's on shore while there's still passengers fucking scaling down the side of a goddamn capsized ship. Like,
the ship stops healing and comes to a final resting place. Now the Coast Guard calls the captain because he's just learned that the captain has abandoned ship. The captain claims, no, actually I slipped and I fell into one of the lifeboats. Oh, I'm a klutz.
yo, okay. Whoops, I accidentally saved myself.
The tells the captain to get the fuck back on board. And the captain kind of acts confused and then effectively refuses. So the captain makes it to shore. From here, we only have mainstream news reports to rely on, so it's not going to be super accurate. But they say that Giglio's police chief then finds 110 survivors on the rocks at Point Gabbianara. And among them is the captain. It's not known whether the captain helped anyone while he was there, and in fact, the police chief claimed that he just sat on the rocks and watched other people do the rescuing.
Bitch.
A while later, a rescue boat picks up the captain and takes him to the harbour. He speaks to the police. He then finds the ship's onboard chaplain, Father Rafael Molina, and cries to him for about 15 minutes. Then he goes to the harbour master's office to receive probably the biggest dressing down of his entire life. Port authorities ask the taxi driver to take the captain back to his hotel. The captain takes the 30-second cab ride to the Bahamas hotel. According to the cabbie, he was beaten like a dog. He was cold and afraid. He had only asked me where he could buy a pair of fresh socks. But then he perked right up again and gave an interview to a news crew. He told them that he was the last to leave.
The captain is usually the last to abandon ship. What happened, Captain? We were the last to leave the ship.
And he's just a
All they
huge
said
fucking
was
liar.
rescue a search for people on the ship.
Yeah.
On Sunday morning, a South Korean couple is found in their cabin, safe but shivering. They had slept through the crash and woke up unable to exit their cabin. The last survivor, Manrico Giampandroni, was found with a broken leg. He was the cabin's service director. In the end, 32 people died. The final body wasn't discovered until nearly 3 years later. A crew member, Russell Rebello, and it's believed that he died a hero helping passengers off the ship. The Costa Concordia was the largest cruise ship disaster since the Titanic. And then there's the ship. This is what happens to a 110,000-ton cruise liner when it's left half rolled over in the ocean.
My God, dude. What it used to be and what it is. That's just... wow.
Creepy as shit inside now.
No shit, dude. It looks like a...
It's probably haunted by the 33 people that died, if I had to guess.
God, dude. That's just...
But this isn't the end. It's just the halfway point. What most people know is that the Costa Concordia had crashed, many dead, and that the captain abandoned ship like a coward. But there's a whole veritable spaghetti of details to untangle. Let's dive in. There they are. The deets.
Oh! I want to be mad, but that's actually fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I like it.
Look there, it's the deets.
That's fucking good.
Oh God, that's I wanted that. I want that to be a meme. It's so bad. Oh! Go!
Blue box time. The Costa Concordia was more than just a floating resort. There's a mall. A casino. Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Oh,
this
yeah.
iron chest was full of safes and cash registers and expensive fittings. And there were plenty of gamers prepared
If
to
you were
sneak by
brave, there's a lot to be
authorities
gained
and
from
try their
sneaking
luck
out to
in the hot zone.
grab some stuff off that.
Yeah.
Within days, police divers reported that valuable items, once seen lying around the ship, were now missing. High-end liquor, expensive furniture, dining sets, cash from the casino, cash registers, jewelry and display cabinets, safes, Japanese woodblock prints by famous 18th century artists, as well as the
Damn,
iconic
too mad.
bell
What are you
was
doing?
hung from the bridge of the ship. It was never found. Who steals a big fuck-off bell? Even the server admins were getting involved. 4 divers who were part of the company contracted to refloat the Concordia were spotted on CCTV, sneaking out to the ship. A patrol boat was dispatched, and the men were caught inside the fancy suites with rucksacks full of stolen goods. The 4 men are charged with stealing and thieving and pinching. Later on, stolen as well as legitimate items found their way to Amazon and eBay. Chips from the casino, postcards, and cabin access cards became highly sought after souvenirs.
It even has a watermark.
Some Australian guy even made a listing for the ship itself, advertising it as buyer to collect. And although there were plenty of bidders, eBay pulled the plug.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd expect that. Idiot.
I know you want to see Scatino go to jail, and we'll get to that. But first, we have to talk about someone else. Dominica Samorton.
That was a close one.
There was speculation that she was on the bridge that evening because she was the captain's mistress.
I had a feeling that was the
Media
case.
speculation reports that her presence distracted the captain.
They both denied their love for years and maintained that they were just friends. Although she did later admit to the media that she found him handsome. And how could you not?
You so fucking precious when you smile.
But she says there was no romantic link between them.
Some people would like to believe, they want to know I have something with him. It's more interesting. It's like, some spicy in the story.
Miss Samorton also loved the spotlight, however.
Everyone, oh no!
And took several interviews. But as the pressure mounted upon her, she began making ominous threats to Scatino, saying he must confess, and that you have but 1 week to come clean. But things from here get weird.
Spicy.
Samorton is a bit of a wild card. In a subsequent interview, she claimed a helicopter came to the ship well before the other rescue craft to take away a package. Huh? And what was that package?
Nothing.
Drugs, apparently. So rumors began that the ship was running narcotics for the mafia. And not without cause. A number of cruise ships, even recently, have been caught trafficking drugs. As an aside, Scatino was tested for drugs immediately after the crash. He tested negative for drugs in his system, but trace amounts of cocaine were found in a hair sample.
Makes it smoother and less dry.
Nonetheless, the Concordia was searched and no drugs were reportedly ever found. How did we get here? Oh right, a helicopter. Samorton commented on it again the next day and said, actually, that helicopter was just for the captain as a means of evacuation from the ship. Okay, wait. So she expected to get some sort of first-class rescue while everyone else was still stuck on the ship. Wait, how did we get here? Oh right,
yeah.
Sex with the captain. Divers were quick to head to the captain's cabin where they found Miss Samorton's lingerie and other articles of clothing as well as a makeup bag. The jig was up, but they continued denying it. Samorton mostly faded from international attention until she was told to appear before the court to present witness testimony. The judge pressed her to be truthful about their relationship, or she would be held in contempt.
Tell me the truth or shut up.
So finally, she admitted it.
See?
Yes, I had a sentimental relationship with the captain.
Stop.
But now, stop asking about my private life.
She was indeed the captain's lover.
What is up?
Oh no! Get him off the fucking screen!
Oh my god!
She and Scatino had been having an affair for several weeks. She also said that on the night she ordered, she didn't have a ticket and didn't need to pay because nobody questions you when you're the captain's lover. Naturally, she gave another confusing interview after leaving court.
I want to say that today is the second time I died because the first time I died in the night of the crash with my psychological brain and problems. And today I died the second time because, of course, people find out something that I try to hide.
Subsequent to the trial, she used her fame in Moldova to become a political activist, often appearing on television and radio and in articles covering protests, accompanied by pictures of her being arrested by police.
You gonna say she's gonna act like that hog-tired bitch ass, knowing who the fuck she is.
It was some stuff about victims of violence, women's rights, yeah. And interestingly, part of the push to block the sale of shares of Moldova's train network to Russia. Sure. Other than that, I don't really know what she's been up to. Let me just check on her hands. No, God, not again.
God dang it! Son of a bitch!
Get her the fuck out!
bitch. Oh.
Hell yeah. Oh, where'd my pop filter go? I cackled the pop filter off the mic.
Okay. God dang it. Okay.
I just love his fucking reaction.
Oh, no. Not again.
Oh, God. Not again.
Oh, God. Okay. Let's, plenty of
Several civil
these.
suits were quickly lodged against Costa Crociere, and their parent company, Carnival Cruises, immediately saw a share drop of 23%. Passengers sought compensation for their damaged mental health, lost belongings, and loved ones.
Either they allowed him to divert from his course, or they didn't know where their billion-dollar ship was.
Within a few days, facing financial and media pressure, the CEO attempted to join the bandwagon against the captain and the crew.
That was not the ordinary route that the ship was taking at the time, and was not only taking, but the time that the ship was...
Claiming that the ship was not approved to deviate from the route. But that wasn't true. Approval isn't required if the ship is deviating by less than 15 miles, or that it was against company rules. Also untrue, because investigators found that they didn't have any rules about deviating route, and they tacitly encouraged sail-by salutes. Now, in response to the civil suits, Costa Crociere offered passengers 11,000 euros each as compensation.
That's kind of small.
11,000 euros, about $14,000, is the minimum compensation under international law when a ship is abandoned.
This was to reimburse them for their tickets, as well as any costs they accrued in having to unexpectedly travel home early.
And that was supposed to release them from everything and anything that has to do with this accident. I cannot ask for more than this.
A lot of passengers, understandably, were not too happy with this deal, and they refused to take the money.
We think the offer is an insult. For what these poor passengers went through, we think that the compensation being offered is not commensurate. Compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Later, Costa Crociere would lodge a plea deal with the Tuscany court to pay a €1 million
Not to mention just
fine
the
to
trauma
avoid
of being on a
criminal
ship
trial.
that fucking sunk, even if you weren't in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, especially like the Korean family that was like left in their fucking cabin and found like basically underwater, and the guy who broke his leg, like they definitely deserve a lot fucking more than $14,000.
Yeah, and the people who lost family members.
Yep.
Anyone who tries to say, "Oh, well, you know," it's like, well, hey, give me $14,000. You weren't there. You can't, like, honestly, I don't judge people who've been through tragedies. I don't try and say, get over it. All I'll say is this. What happened here is a freak occurrence that hasn't happened since the fucking Titanic.
Okay, I'm going to use an example of something that actually happened to my friend before, and somebody that he was with at the time. But even like basically $14,000 is recompense, in my opinion, is a good amount for like a cop that was in the right lane while my friend was in the left lane that decided to pull a fucking U-turn to try to pull someone over and cut them off and flip their car. Like, the police department, I think, paid them somewhere around that amount. And I'm just like, that's fair. Like, I would probably take $14,000 for a cop fucking doing that to me and flipping my goddamn car and scaring the shit out of me. Like, but like for a fucking cruise liner sinking, me thinking I'm gonna die for probably like 3 to 4 hours, my anxiety's bad. As soon as the power went out, I'd be like, I'm gonna die, and it wouldn't stop. Like, it wouldn't stop until I was back on land.
Jesus.
Yeah, not to mention just like they said, the fucking cost of having to suddenly get back from like a place you didn't intend on like stopping at, and like all of that shit. Like that is insulting. That's an insulting amount.
That is paltry.
Yeah. And if their tickets were actually like, as expensive as they supposedly were, like, then
you gotta think.
Fuck that noise, man.
Yeah, fuck it. That's terrible. Anyway, back to this.
The judge agrees. Costa Crociere is now off the hook for all criminal liability for the whole thing. They've washed their hands of the incident and flecked the residual droplets of responsibility onto the faces of 6 staff members. Passengers and relatives of the dead are livid that the company has been able to avoid criminal responsibility.
Offered is not commensurate.
Civil suits against the company continue. By the way, the residents of the island of Giglio also banded together and sought damages. They didn't get much. Eventually, passengers who refused the initial compensation of $11,000 joined civil parties against Scatino in his trial in 2015.
Is not commensurate.
They were awarded €30,000 each. Other cases, especially those involving lost relatives, are settled for undisclosed amounts.
Uh-oh.
New York attorney Peter Renee traveled to Budapest to represent 6 real survivors of the disaster.
At Renee, we personally work on every case.
And we'll work harder than anyone to get you the most money possible in the shortest amount of time.
And while on the job, a 7th case cropped up via email. An elderly woman, Alona, said,
"Help me, Mr. Ronai, for I have lost my daughter, Eva, and my 5-year-old granddaughter, Roxana."
So Mr. Renai agreed to speak with her. However, there were some inconsistencies in her story. Neither Eva nor Roxana were on the passenger list. Odd, but Costa is known for having stowaways. Still, Mr. Renai was suspicious. They wouldn't cheaty old Petey, would they? Renai inquired further about why she was on board, especially without a ticket. Ilona said,
"Well, I don't know, but you should ask her boyfriend.
Zolt Horvath.
He'll know all the details."
I'm up all night. I'm going crazy, he said. But Mr. Renai was still suspicious. Because then she asked, "How much money do you think this is worth?" This is a huge red flag, Petey. In 20 years of doing this, you've never had anyone ask about money. Why now? So Mr. Renai hired an investigator and sent photos around of the missing girl. The next day, the phone rang. Oh, it was the boyfriend again. Look, there's been a bit of a misunderstanding and the child isn't missing at all. And then he claimed he was confused because he had done too many drugs the night before. Oh. Okay, can I speak to the daughter then? At first, he was refused. So Renai said that he'd have to file a missing persons report to the police if he couldn't. The boyfriend relented. That night, Renai met with Zolt and brought the police with him. He speaks to the granddaughter and asks her if she's seen Mum. "Yeah, I saw her today." "Oh, really?" "Yeah, we went to the park today and we went on the swings." Oh no, the jig was up. So the mum walks into the room sheepishly. "It's a miracle!" And the story changed again. "Okay, I'm not dead, but I did injure my leg when I jumped from the ship. And then I immediately flew back to Budapest. Although don't worry about checking my leg because there are no visible marks or injuries." Oh, Petey, I'm beginning to think they weren't even on the boat. Also, it turns out this lady isn't her mum, it's just a neighbor. Eventually, Renee managed to make the bear confess, and they said, "Hey, we haven't done anything wrong. We haven't taken any money." And in the end, it looks like there'll be no criminal punishment for the scam, because Hungary, a former communist country, has no laws against insurance fraud on the books.
The law firm that never sleeps, call 1-800-664-7.
Oh, buddy, you fucked up. Vada a bordo.
Mario, would you teach me some Italian?
Oh, of course. Needs to get back on board for fuck's sake.
Okay, thanks.
Gregorio de Felpa, the naval officer who shouted at Scatino to "Vada a bordo caso," became a bit of a national hero overnight in Italy. He, like the rest of the world, expected Scatino to go down with the ship. And when the captain chickened out, De Falco was there to admonish him. And when he stopped answering the radio, he called him on his cell phone to continue putting him on blast. When the captain first reported
A boatload of trouble.
De Falco didn't believe the story, and immediately began preparing a rescue effort, which likely saved several lives. His actions were applauded by most Italians who were tired of their public servants being corrupt and avoiding responsibility. Accordingly, shirts sporting "Vada a bordo caso" were being printed by the end of the week, others setting it as their phone's ringtone. But then, In September 2014, without warning, DeFalco was transferred to an admin role in the Coast Guard.
Hear what I said? You've been demoted.
DeFalco said that he had been passed up for promotion, that he had also not been told which admin office he was even being transferred to, and that it all effectively cancelled 10 years of his career. DeFalco was Tres Furioso, and there was public speculation that it was owing to bad blood between himself and Admiral Delano, his former boss. His status among the public overshadowed his superior in many ways. On the other hand, his boss said, no, it's part of a normal career progression for naval officers, and that he must show more maturity and professionalism to advance his career. Now, it's hard to know what's true in office politics, so let's leave that alone. And anyway, in 2018, DeFalco said Buenas noches, later to the Italian Navy to become a politician. In March that year, he was elected to the Italian Senate, serving as a member for Livorno. He still serves there today.
Yes. Uh-oh.
The day after the disaster, Scatino was taken into custody by police and underwent questioning. However, it was clear that this would not be a straightforward investigation. So the judge released him under house arrest at his home in Sorrento, a town in Napoli. By July of that year, the house arrest was relaxed and he was allowed within this general area. While under house arrest, he wrote a book with this journalist from Rai magazine. I have no idea what it says, I don't speak Italian. But goddamn, he must have some kind of charisma going on, because there's been a lot of speculation in the press that he had an affair with her as well. Oh my god. Not content with abandoning his ship, this dude is determined to abandon his wife as well. So, Scatino and 5 others are facing criminal charges. Straight away, everyone lodges a plea bargain with the court, and all of those plea bargains are accepted, except for Scatino's. And the condition of everyone's reduced sentences are that they must provide witness testimony against Scatino.
He touched me.
Ciro, Jacob, and Silvio all given suspended sentences. Roberto and Mario are able to opt for community service or house arrest. Not a bad deal.
Good deal. Good deal.
And that meant that Scatino was now all on his own. Ciro, the first officer, was the first to give his testimony. On the witness stand, he claimed that Scatino was distracted by his mistress and other guests on the bridge. That he was confused whether he was in command. Then it was Jacob's turn, and he said, Lamau XD, because he didn't actually bother with his testimony or his reduced sentence. He just fled the country. It took authorities 12 months to eventually track him down on the outskirts of Jakarta. And when they said, wait, we still got that witness testimony, he just scarfed it in, and he hasn't been found since.
Jesus Christ.
After that, Ferrarini gave his testimony, then look, we don't have time to relitigate the whole trial, so let's just go straight to the verdict. Guilty! Scatino was found guilty of multiple manslaughter, causing a shipwreck, abandoning ship, and lying to authorities. He is sentenced to 16 years and 1 month in prison.
I just gave
But
it
wait,
ratted it
there's
up
still
to
the
20
appeals.
at least.
The appeals trial begins.
Not more.
And the verdict on the appeal? Surprise! Rejected! So Scatino's lawyers appealed again. And the verdict on the final appeal?
Scatino made multiple attempts to secure a plea deal but was denied by the prosecution each time. The prosecution called for Scatino to be sentenced to 26 years in prison, calling the incident a Titanic affair.
Okay, I see what you did there.
Scatino was not present. His lawyer stated that he was waiting outside of the jail for the ruling, so that if his plea was rejected, he could immediately start serving his sentence. And with that, 5 years and 4 months after the disaster, he was finally in a cell.
I will not be making any comment.
Linus, take this. No.
That's too good.
Oh god, I heard that thing and I'm just like, no, damn it.
The salvage operation was enormous. It took over 2 years and cost an estimated $1.2 billion. Beginning in early 2012, they first spent 2 months pumping fuel from the ship's tanks. At the same time, they had to pump seawater in so that the balance wasn't affected and the ship didn't slide around. In early 2013, a platform was built under the ship to prevent it from falling further. Sponsons were then attached to the sides of the ship and cables attached to the underwater platform. The sponsons were then dragged underwater and opened up to allow the ocean to fill them. The ship could then roll over properly. By late 2013, the ship was upright once more.
Yay!
The sponsons were then attached to the side of the ship to help keep it balanced. It now rested partially above water and crews could walk around safely. By July 2014, the water was removed from the sponsons and compressed air was pumped in to lift the ship. And she was ready to cruise again. This time to a port in Genoa. It was a 4-day towing journey to the docks where a 2-year process of dismantling and recycling would begin. That same weekend of the towing, Schettino was busy. He was the guest of honor at a white party on an island in the Bay of Naples. He appeared on the front page of a local newspaper, flanked by 2 of Italy's most eligible bachelorettes. Anyway, so these are the things that I remember from the Costa Concordia. That sweet maiden of the sea. And as for you, little fella.
Off you go.
It's time to return you from whence you came.
God.
6 quick things. 1. NordVPN, good product, check them out. Number 2, there's a new video on the second channel. You probably didn't see it because it was temporarily restricted. Now it's not. Enjoy it. 3, if you've never seen the second channel before, give it a go. It's a different type of content, but we put a lot of production into it. It's not just offcuts. 4, there are a couple secret channels as well, but I ain't telling you where they are. 5, no more 45-minute videos on the main channel. Back to 10 to 15 minutes and more of them. 6, there's a Q&A coming out next week on incognito mode. It's got a ton of detail that we had to cut for the sake of brevity, and will no doubt feature a ton of corrections as well. That's
More
it.
footage from
Thank
the
you.
spaghetti scene.
Spicy.
I fucking love the sound effects. He's like
Boom.
dragging the bell. Don't. Oh, that was awesome.
I keep thinking back like Titanic. Have you ever seen like the original like director's cut ending of Titanic?
I can't remember. I don't think I ever got back through it after watching it in theaters.
Okay, so I watched it, and here's what happened. Here, effectively, in the original ending, you know, it's just her on the back of the ship alone. She brings out the heart of the ocean, and she drops it in as like a poignant sign of, like, oh, this is my last anchor to this world, or my last anchor, you know, to the Titanic. Here you go, take it back, ocean. Whereas in the other ending, friggin' Rose is seen by Bill Paxton, the guy who's leading the operation to find the heart of the ocean, and her granddaughter, and they both rush to like see her back there, and he sees that she's holding it, and he's like doing everything he can, and he actually has like one of the best lines that I'm sad they didn't get a chance to use. It's just like, ma'am, I really don't know what to say right now, because I don't know what to say to a woman who who tries to jump off the Titanic whenever it's seaworthy and jumps back on it whenever it's sinking. I mean, and it basically ends with like everyone, like in front of everyone, she just drops it right there in front of everybody, and all of a sudden, like the one guy, he's just like, "Not cool, lady," and it's like, well, you got to think. Yeah, that heart of the ocean, sure, the story behind it was tragic and all that, but think like all the good it could have done, how much money that could have raised for, various other things, going to starving people, I don't know, something, Where it was in her possession, she could make demands. Be like, I want this to go, like, all the money that is raised towards this, I want this to go towards feeding people, or, doing something good, giving back to the community with... Oh, God. It was such a dumb ending. But, anyway, speaking of dumb, the Costa Concordia. This, like... I remember a long time ago, I was entranced with, like, going on a cruise ship. Like, I wanted to go on a cruise ship. I wanted it. Then after hearing about multiple things, the worst, like, what I thought originally was the worst one was literally, like, the ship that lost, like, all power, like, the toilet stopped working and all that. Basically, people were, like, having to resort to shitting in buckets and throwing it over the side of the ship. And it was like that for like 2 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah, because they had to tow them back slowly, and they were literally in the middle of the ocean. But anyway, that plus a few other things have made me just a little iffy. I'd still like to go on a cruise ship and have fun, but I don't know.
I don't really have much desire to go on a cruise ship that actually goes anywhere. If they just have like in a bay like party type thing on one, like I would be more down to like go on it, but I don't really want to go out over the ocean in a ship if I can help it, just because you know what my number one fear is.
Yes. Yes.
And like
Cthulhu rising from the sea and devouring you.
Well, obviously.
I
have a slight like, I wouldn't call it a fear, but like an aversion to the idea of going on a ship due to the fact that my number one fear could possibly be something that I could meet should something go wrong with that ship. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that idea all that much. Like, I'm not, like, scared to go on one. I would just rather not. If that makes any sense.
No, that's fair. That's more than fair. Me, personally, I'd love to go on a cruise ship. I would not mind being out in the ocean, but I can see how it could freak some people out.
Yeah.
My mom...
I mean, it's basically just a fucking moving 5-star hotel.
It is.
Like, it's not that big of a deal to be out on a ship over the ocean because you're not doing anything differently than what you would be doing chilling at a 5-star hotel and casino, essentially. Like, the only difference is like you get to look off the side and see the ocean and shit. But it's just
there's you get to go to destinations and stay at those destinations for several days. For instance, like the Bahamas, Bermuda. You get to go to Jamaica. Like the cruise that my mom was taking with my grandfather when, unfortunately my grandfather passed away. They were going to Nassau in the Bahamas, and then they were going to go down to Kingston, Jamaica, and then they were going to come back.
Essentially, all those are just like beach trips, essentially. So.
Beach trips, but at the same time, dude, I mean, take me to Jamaica and let me chill with some real reggaeton motherfuckers. Like I'd love to smoke some of that good shit. Plus, I know you fear the ocean, which is one of your biggest things, but the water is so clear you can stand like neck deep, look down, and see your feet.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Still don't want to be in it.
And that's fair.
Can also see the sharks coming at me.
Yeah, except that you can't because there are no sharks because they have the nets out there, and they also have the sonic pulsars that keep them away.
We'll see if they had nets and shit, then I would be fine with it.
Oh yeah, dude. Most resort beaches have the nets, and they also have the sonic pulsars.
I feel like all beaches should do that. Like, it would pretty much end shark attacks on people.
Well, you have to think
outside of
in terms of
scuba divers getting attacked.
I would say all resort beaches pretty much have that. Myrtle has it. Virginia Beach has it.
Myrtle doesn't have that. People have been attacked by sharks at Myrtle Beach.
Well, I guess they don't maintain them anymore. But pretty much, there have been no recorded shark.
A couple of years ago that someone got attacked by one out there. I was just like,
I guarantee you, they just didn't. They don't maintain the nets.
Maybe, I don't know.
But
I mean, I've never seen the nets personally.
Well,
so I don't know
all I know is that they showed us. They showed us where the nets were, and they also showed like the sonic devices that kept them away. It was like these pulsing things that actually like sent out these like it pretty much drove them away, and it shot them out like every 30 seconds. So basically, even if the sonic pulsars didn't stop them, the nets would. because, you know, unless they go full Free Willy and just hop right over top of it, you know, which they're not going to do unless there's a reason for it. Yeah. But anyway, this right here, I'm glad the captain is serving time in jail. I really wish they could have given him an even 20 years because, you know, fuck him. But, yeah, I mean, when you fuck up that bad, you're going to serve time. Or at least you should serve time.
It's not just that he fucked up, it's that he just continually lied about it. It's that he was a fucking coward. Like, he was generally a piece of shit.
Yes.
Like, not to mention the whole, like, you know, affair thing. Like, it probably wouldn't have happened if he had kept it in his fucking pants. Like,
oh boy.
I mean, it probably still would have happened, it seemed like, because he was just kind of an idiot, but probably would have helped if he had not been distracted by the piece of ass, too, you know, so.
Yeah, you'd hope, but it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, this
is just overall very, very shitty. Like,
yeah.
You know when, like, a dude's, like, screaming at you on the phone to get the fuck back on the ship, you fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, he fucked up in every possible way, dude. I mean, there's nothing that man did right.
Yep.
Nothing. God. Well,
I mean, obviously, like, the company themselves needs to fucking pay out a bunch of restitution to everybody, too. They're pieces of shit as well.
Well, yeah, because
it's like, how the fuck are you going to hire people that are that fucking incompetent? Like,
you have a $500 million... You have a $500 million invested in this ship.
Why the fuck would you put someone so incompetent in charge of it?
Yeah, who would go out of his way to hire a helmsman who is from Indonesia and doesn't speak a word of English or Italian, and he's going to be the one,
well,
or at least not well, and you put him in charge. I'm sorry.
Not to mention you hired a dude who had previously crashed a ship.
That
would
had
be
multiple
an instant
incidents.
like, oh, you crashed a ship before? No.
Here, you get command of one of our best ships in the entire friggin' ocean.
Right.
Jesus.
Hell no.
Indeed. Big hell no. Anyway, this was the cost of Concordia by the internet historian.
What freaks me out about flying on planes, too, because, like, how do you know that, like, fucking, you know, whatever airlines is not doing the same shitty, like, Dollar General purchasing, like, their fucking pilots, like...
Well, here's the thing, I have a cousin who works for what's the name of that? It begins with the name Allegiant Air. They're one of the cheapest airlines in the United States. She says the pilots are some of the most well-trained people and are, honestly, they run through protocols every single time. And they have to. Because they are always being watched. Because ever since 9/11, that's always been a constant... It's always been a constant thing for them to be monitored. I mean, it's just commonplace now.
Yeah.
I mean...
I just wish I could get my own plane where I could have a fucking parachute. In case something did happen.
In case, yeah.
So I think it's absolutely absurd. Your only choice is to just go down with the plane and pretty much kiss your ass goodbye if something happens with a fucking passenger liner. It makes no sense to me. I think it's nothing but cost cutting.
It is to a certain degree, but
it's basically valuing money over people's lives, in my opinion.
Yeah, and well, it's providing a service, but it's not providing that service well.
No.
And you want quality whenever you're like traveling and trying to go somewhere, but it is what it is. But this was the cost of Concordia by the internet historian. Hell of a video, almost an hour long. Well, this reaction video is over an hour long, so enjoy that. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to do it. Once again, if you want to see more from Internet Historian, click his name in the title of the video. If you want to see the original video, link is in the description. And I guess until next time, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
We'll see you then, everyone. Peace out.